Hi there, it's Rosie Napravnik for Twin Spires, and I'm here with Steve Asmussen. Steve, it's Derby time, but it's kind of a lax Derby time for you. Just one runner in the Derby this year with Track Fandom. Is that a relief for you?
Oh, no. I mean, you're trying to get as many there as you can. It's just the premier event of our sport. Unbelievably excited to have a participant in Track Fandom. Very pleased with what he did this morning and how he looks over the racetrack.
Yeah, I have the ultimate privilege of doing the Derby work show for Twin Spires, and I get to see all the fun action. He was actually one of my highlighted works. I love the way he moved, and it seemed like it was just your style of what you're looking for. Their last prep before the Derby. So what did you think about his breeze?
Very well. He handled wonderfully. We did add blinkers on him since the Louisiana Derby. Felt that he lost a little concentration coming into the stretch that day, which was, compromised his finish. But he's handled really well with it. He's been very relaxed. Carlos does an amazing job, as always, like he did this morning. Racetrack's very quick right now. We saw that from the times last night, and came out, cooled out well. And can't be any more. Love our draw. Drawn 12 of 20. Hopefully he jumps well from the gates and be as excited as ever.
Yeah, he did get a wonderful post position draw, and it's fun that we have the draws so early in the week, while we're watching the works. He definitely has shown that he's got some speed. Do you think that he's one-dimensional? Do you expect and want him to be on the lead, or do you think that it's safe to say he can, do the best from where he ends up and going into the first turn?
I think that's accurate. You want him to jump away from there cleanly and just get into a nice rhythm. As we've seen in years past, that long run, that quarter of a mile run to the first turn, because of certain horses' post position and defending against certain things, more of them are used than in the previous preps, and I expect that to happen again on Saturday. But and that is the reason we've worked him off of other horses the last 3 times.
So only one horse in the Derby this year, but I know you're going to be rooting for 2 competitors. Your son Keith is riding in his first Kentucky Derby this year. So exciting. He's been riding a few years and having some really big successes recently. Tell me about how you're feeling going into watching your son ride in the Derby.
Oh, I'm unbelievably excited about that. His association with Wayne, they've had a lot of success last year as well as this year, and on a very good roll. Picked up the mount on Just Steel going into the Arkansas Derby, and he had worked him previously. He actually had the option of riding a horse or 2 for me in the race, and he just simply told me he thought Just Steel was better, and he proved right. And horse responded wonderfully for him, and obviously the association with Lucas, the coach, and Keith riding him, for me, it's so nostalgic. I grew up in a house that had pictures on the wall from my dad, Keith, riding for Wayne Lucas. So to see that continued on to another generation is very special.
And I mean, absolutely amazing. I can't even imagine being in your position. But I will say, my son is turning 9, and he loves to ride, and I'm kind of already coming to the terms with the fact that he might actually become a jockey too. And I wasn't expecting this, but it scares the living daylights out of me. Do you ever have any kind of fear of your son's riding in races?
I was very anxious early, and when he did start riding, it was during the pandemic, and there was no crowds at all, and the sounds were just so much more vivid, and I was a lot more anxious, but my father rode, my older brother rode, so, very used to it, and they've been on horses as just like Carson their whole lives, but Carson has the unique distinction of already winning a Breeders' Cup race for me, which is kind of hard to explain, but true. So there's no shot of him not being a jockey. So.
Well, anyway, best of luck to Track Phantom and to Keith in this year's Kentucky Derby.